All right then, so let's open up the browser and search for GitHub. Open up your GitHub repository and you have to create yourself a new repository in your project. Create a new repository. So let's give a name as quiz AI web app using Next.js May 2025, something like that. So in this case, I'm going to keep this repository as a private repository and then create this repository. There we go. So now let's open up our terminal. Open your command prompt, and here I need to clone my application on the desktop. So I need to navigate myself into desktop. So let me make it a little bit bigger so you can see it clear. So I'm just going to say cd change directory desktop. So over the desktop, I'm going to clone this application. So all I have to do is to copy this URL and let's say git clone, paste that URL, and I'm going to give a name as quiz web app, something like that. If you don't give this name, what will happen? It will clone this entire application in this your repository name and hit the enter. That is going to create a folder. In this case, it isn't on my another screen, so let me bring it over here, and there it is. Okay, so now here I'm just going to jump into the Visual Studio Code just by saying code space quiz web app. That is going to open this application in the Visual Studio Code. Hit the enter, and there we go. So let me keep it on the right hand side and let me keep this one on the left hand side. So now let me get into here and search for Next.js and click the Next.js by Vercel documentation and then click get started option. So here all you have to do is to click this installation. So click the installation and that provides you an npx command which helps you to install the Next.js application. But in this case, we're going to use a different package installer like npm or yarn, or you can use one. There are different package installers. In this case, I'm going to use the pnpm. So all you have to say install the pnpm globally. So npm install -g pnpm. In this case, in my machine, I already installed the pnpm package installer globally, so I don't have to do that. Otherwise, let us download the latest version of it. Okay, then I'm just going to say pnpm -- version. So that is going to give me the version number which is installed successfully in my machine. Okay, so now all we have to do is to install the Next.js application using the pnpm, or you can use this command itself. In this case, I'm just going to say pnpm create space next -app at latest. So if you are using npx, you should not leave any space over here. If you are using yarn or pnpm, you need to leave a space between create and next app, and all the necessary files needs to be downloaded inside the folder which we already have. I don't want to create one more subdirectory inside in it. So in that situation, I just need to say /, which it will download all the necessary files and put it in the exact same folder itself. Now hit the enter. That will download all the necessary files, and it's asked us, do you like to use the TypeScript? Of course, we're going to use the TypeScript. Yes. And would you like to use the ESLint? No, I'm not going to use the ESLint right now, so let me ignore it. And CSS, tailwind, yes. And are you going to use the source directory or app directory? Since we're going to use the app router, I'm going to use the go for app router itself, not the source directory. So no. Would you like to use app router? Yes. Turbo pack, Turbo pack is nothing but the Next.js 15 version. So I'm going to use the Turbo pack. And are you going to change the import alias? I'm going to keep it default itself. So that is going to download all the necessary files, and pnpm, it will install the files in a much faster way. So now we have our applications over here. So in this thing, the most importantly, you need to understand the folder structures. So if you open the app, you can see we have the page.tsx, layer.tsx, global.css. So what is page.tsx and what is layout.tsx? Layout it's the entire structure layout of your website, right? Where you can see the root layout, which is rendering our entire component inside over here. That's the place where we configure our website font styles and the metadata informations, and all the informations are structured inside your layout. And the page.tsx is nothing but is the file name. That's the default name that you have to create for each and every files, every page. So in order to understand it much clear way, open your Next.js documentation, which we already have. On the left hand side, you can see we have the project structure, right? We can see the project structure. So click that project structure, and if you scroll down, you can see what are the folders and what are the files that it needs to be you need to create in your Next.js application, and what is the purpose of that file. They given a complete explanation over that, all these informations, right? What is app? App is the app router. Pages means pages router. And what are the purpose of using the middleware TS? So these are the file name that you have to create, and these are the routing files, right? Layout, for if you want to structure your website layout, then you need to use the file name called layout.tsx. Or if you are going to create a new page, then you need to use the file name as the page.tsx. So these are all the routing files and how they are creating the routes. Comparatively, when you're using React.js, we need to go for React router DOM in order to create the multiple routes. But here, you just have to create yourself a new folder, and that folder inside, you need to create a file called page.tsx, and that file will trigger that particular page. All you have to do is to on the browser, you just need to say your domain name slash the folder name. For instance, let's say if you want to create an about us page, all you have to do is to create a new folder over here as about us. That's it. So don't worry, we will catch up all these things later when you're working on the routings and everything. Just wanna tell you that you have to go through this official documentation before learning any new technologies. You have to learn there. You have to go through their official documentation, so that will gives you the clear cut idea what we are working with. Okay, so now we have our application, so let us run it and let's make sure the website entirely is running fine. So all you have to say is npm run dev. So that is going to trigger your application in the local host. So let us open it in the local host. It's compiling the resources, and here we go. So now we have our application up and running on our local host, right? So this is the page.tsx. This is what you are seeing right now over here. All these are the all these are the files which is rendering over here, right? So, and all about this is all about the project initializations and everything. And now I'm going to give you the development environment setup, that what are the things, what are the extensions that we need to use, and what are the plugins I'm using for this particular project build. So all you have to do is to click this extension, and you have to search for Prettier. So this is the extension which I'm using for formatting the code. Every time when I'm saving the code, it needs to align automatically. So that's the issue, because we can't align every line of code. Think about it, thousands of lines. So sometimes it gets a little bit harder to maintain and align the code. So use the Prettier, that will do that work for you. Then I'm going to use the ES7 React Redux snippets. So these snippets will helps us to write the React codes in a much faster way. Then I'm going to use this Tailwind CSS. Search for Tailwind CSS. So that is going to give you this. Either you can install this Tailwind CSS kit, which comes with Tailwind CSS IntelliSense fold along with the documentations, config viewer. This is a complete kit, will help us to work with the Tailwind CSS project. Or you can directly install only the Tailwind CSS IntelliSense, because that gives you the suggestions of the utility classes of your Tailwind CSS. Because we can't remember every single name of the Tailwind CSS utility classes. So this gives you the suggestions, and it comes really handy when you're working with your applications. All right, these are the things that I'm going to use for this particular project build, and this is the extensions which I installed in my machine, right? So let's commit our changes directly. So all I have to say, changes project initiated, and click commit, and let push this changes into our GitHub. And let's get back over here to our GitHub and let's see the changes are uploaded or not. Yes, we have seen the changes over here. And now all we have to do is to go ahead and start working on the next section, which is how to integrate the chat CN with our Next.js application.